All right, so we got our video here for the cutting the taper edge for the legs of our bench now. So what you're gonna do is you will have two of these pieces, the 38 inch long, 30-degree angle cuts. I've only got one right now, but it's a repeated process for both of them. So make sure you're holding or you're approaching the 30-degree cut the correct way, the way it is in the picture, which you know, we have the angle kind of coming at us here. All right, so it's the same as it is in the picture. All right, and then what you have to do is we're gonna use the handheld circ saw here to slice off a back wedge along here. And so the measurements, one of them is from this like top left corner here. We got to go in 4.5 inches. All right, and so grab my tape measure real quick. We measure in 4.5 inches from that back edge right there. Make sure you have the tape measure up against that corner, and then 4.5 inches, the mark will be right there. Make sure you mark it on the edge, not in the middle of the board. So mark on the edge there. And then this next one is a little bit different. It's 21 inches, but it's from the bottom right corner. All right, so 21 inches up from there. And again, if you need to have someone help you hold the tape measure, do that. But again, mark it on the edge of the board. All right, and now we have these rulers here to help you mark this line right here. All right, so put it up against those two edges, and then one dark, clean, straight line all the way across, connecting those two dots. And there we have it. In class, what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to have a group member hold down the board. All right, I don't have a group member to help me, so I'm gonna use a clamp. All right, to secure this in place. Make sure that the underside of the board where you're going to be cutting is open and free. You're not going to be running over top of a sawhorse or anything else, especially if you're on a tabletop or something like that. Make sure it's open and clear. You're not going to run into anything with the blade. When you're approaching this cut, a couple things. First, if you're trying to start from the long side here, you're going to have a very kind of sharp angle to get into this board. And in my experience, the blade guard does not retract very easily if you approach from this side. So I always recommend students approach from this side where it's a lot more square onto it, and that blade guard will retract nice and easily. All right, this is probably our first time in class where we've done an accurate cut with a handheld circular saw. So there's a couple things to keep in mind. First, on the handheld circular saw, there's these two notches at the top. What we're looking for is the one that's labeled 0. It's the thin one. All right, the really thin one. That is what is approximately right in front of the blade itself. So when you put the blade, the saw on top of the board, you want to have that pencil mark showing, but again, you want it on the waist side. All right, and then you know, the idea is you need to really kind of get your eye level down so you can see the blade. All right, you don't want the blade to be touching the board. You want the blade off the board. All right, and you're trying to line it up the best you can. And in my experience, the only way to truly get a good, accurate cut is just go really slow. Watch the blade, get your body, your eyes into a position where you can see where the blade's going into it. And then once you're into it, if you notice that you're off the line, you got to stop, back out, and try a different line. You cannot turn the blade while you're in the cut. All right, that's the biggest thing. It's going to bind and kick back on you. If it starts to bind, stop the blade, back out, get the new line. All right, so at this point, I'm going to start it. Remember, 2 hands on the saw at all times. Someone else is holding the board, or you have it braced the way I do, clear underneath. All right, 2 hands on the board. So let's go ahead and try it. Again, I'm going to really try to keep the blade up against the pencil mark on the waist side. Let's see how it goes. So I stayed pretty much on the line, just on the waist side of the line. You can sort of see some of the pencil marks here and there. Straight cut all the way through, and that's what you do. You do that twice. That was the first one. You do the exact same carbon copy for the next one, nothing different. All right, if you have any questions, please check your teacher. Thank you very much.